Hi guys, and welcome to another session of Honest Talk About Women, where you'll learn tips, tricks and strategies on how to navigate the minefields of dating and relationships. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and also comment in the comment section. It all helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you've got a story you want to share with me, please contact me on my email address listed below. Also, just before we get started, I'm not the only one in this room today. I've got a dog, you can see in the background. Her name is Molly. She's completely conked out. She's making snoring sounds, so if you hear someone snoring, it's not me snoring through my nose. It's a very warm day in Auckland today. It's 30 degrees, I think it's about 86 degrees Fahrenheit. So she's conked out and it's very, very warm. Just a disclaimer, I'm not offering legal, accounting or financial planning advice. I'm only speculating on what possibly could happen. Let's get right into it. Today's one is about separate accounts. So you've decided to play the field, then date a serious woman, and you decided to live together. And now comes the tricky part, finances. So even if you're not married, you can still be termed legally married after a certain period of time living together. In New Zealand, it's 2 years. In other countries, it varies. But even if you're not living together, you can also be termed as in a relationship if you have annual anniversary get-togethers, celebrating each other's birthdays, going to family events, Christmas dues, that can be, and rings given to each other. It could be termed also as a marriage, even though you're living independently of each other. So you've got to be very, very careful how you tread, guys, on the relationship front, because you can give a significant amount of your net worth away when it comes to a crashing end. So you've decided to have a relationship with a woman and you've got the ticklish question of separate accounts. Okay, so you can have complete separate accounts, and this is the cleanest option of the three I'll go through today. So 100% separate finances. Her bank account gets debited for 50% of the mortgage or 50% of the rent, and also the utilities, electricity, water, cell phone, broadband. She also pays 50% of that straight from her account to the utility provider, and that's the cleanest way to do things with when you're in a relationship. No debit cards, no credit cards, and it's just a straight either direct debit by the company or bank, or a automatic payment that goes to those utility companies and others when a bill is due. And you just pay everything 50-50, straight down the line, no arguments. So that's the simplest, cleanest possible way. The second way of doing things is having a minor joint checking account. And you both have debit cards. There is no credit balance, so you can only pay for things if there's money in the account. So on the 20th of each month, when you get paid, which is like New Zealand, you put your monthly amount into the account, joint account, for the bills to be paid. Other countries are, some countries have it on the 1st, other countries have it on the 30th. Depends how your monthly cycle works in your country. And out of that joint account, the mortgage gets paid, the landlord, if you're renting, the landlord gets paid, the utility bills get paid, and the grocery bills get paid. And you both have debit cards, so you can pay for it at the supermarket or whenever. And that's the account setup I had with my second wife. We just had extreme separate finances, and we had a marriage contract in place, and we operated the bare minimal joint account, which was just a very minor checking account, very minor. It's just debit cards. Now the third way is a checking account with a debit and credit card. So everything comes out of that account and you put in, and usually most people put in 50-50 into that account. And all the mortgage or the rent and the utility bills get paid out of that, same as the groceries. But this one has a credit card, and depending on your limit, so in my first marriage, I had credit cards, and it was a complete shambles because there was about, I think it was from memory, it was about a $30,000 limit on the joint credit cards, and a tremendous amount of stuff that was just absolute crap got purchased on the joint credit card. And it wasn't exactly 50-50 paying it off at the end of each month, so you don't incur interest. So there's all sorts of purchases that were unnecessary, and yeah, it all adds up. So the kettle was working perfectly fine, gets replaced with the latest kettle. The toaster only slightly made things darken on one side on one of the slots that you put the toast and the bread into. In the bin, $500 toaster into the bin, new one purchased. And also with some women, I'm not saying all women, but some women, they have a big expense in terms of toiletry items, makeup, moisturizer creams, hand creams, the whole works. And those are very top shelf items that some purchase, and that can add up quite big. So there's a danger there with a credit card that it's not proportionally expensed out, and one person can rake up a lot of money on it. And when it comes to the end of the month to square it off, there can be a whole host of excuses. Oh look, things are really tight this month financially, I can't contribute my 50%, can you pick it up please, pretty please? And then you may get concessions in return, but you don't want to be like that. It doesn't have to be, it shouldn't be contingent. It should be her responsibility to pay for her expenses on the credit card. And it comes down to administratively tedious, going through who made what purchase and putting a name next to it and tallying it all up. It can take time, and you don't want that administrative challenge at home. You want things super simple. And also like parking infringements and car repairs. Everyone gets a speeding ticket every so often. Parking on over a set period of time, you get charged for parking over the time, and those things go put onto the credit card. And it should be the person who made those vehicle infringements should be responsible to pay, but it never usually ends up that way. There's usually one person paying it more than the other. So I would not recommend the third option there, guys. If you're going into this fresh, I'd go with option one, which is purely 100% separate. Everything's split right down the middle. And it may seem cold and hearted, but you won't regret it when it comes to the other end of possibly separation and divorce. Now, if you're earning well in excess of your girlfriend or your wife, you're earning 10x to her income, and she may want to be a stay-at-home mum to look after the kids, and this is something you've got to work through, because if she has a university degree and she takes time out to look after the kids, she could get a very high concession when it comes to alimony should a separation or divorce occur. So she's maybe have 1 or 2 degrees, and she's been out of the workforce, and she hasn't been able to apply her trade, and she's had a loss of earnings. So this is all calculated when you do a financial settlement at the end, should things become unstuck. So in summary, you should never ever disclose your full financial position. You can put it through trusts or companies or whatever. Once you get into a relationship, we need a relationship agreement. In the United States, they call it a prenup. In New Zealand, they call it a relationship agreement, and it clearly identifies whose assets are whose, and what you come into the relationship with debt, who owns the cars, and so forth. And it's a very clear ledger of who owns what coming into the relationship. So if things become necessary to untangle at the end, it's a lot cleaner, guys. So never ever reveal your cash balances through your companies, or your bonus checks that you're getting, your dividend and interest incomes, or your retirement pension plans, or other assets you have tucked away or throughout the world. That's entirely your private information, and it's not to be shared, because once you start sharing that information, guys, people can calculate, and I've seen it happen many times again, where people have calculated their divorce check, what they can get if they just said, it's over, I want out. And she hires one of the best attorneys, divorce attorneys, and you hire one of the best attorneys also, and you fight it out in court, and it becomes extremely expensive. So play low key, guys. You do not need to reveal everything. In a relationship agreement, you can just state company XYZ belongs to me and it's my responsibility. You don't have to outline the assets of that company or the cash balances of that company and so forth. Same as your pension plan. In this country, you don't have to give specific dollar amounts before you start into a relationship and say your pension plan has $1 million. You can say, I have a pension plan with XYZ and that's it. You don't have to disclose a dollar amount. So otherwise, certain people can calculate you as an ATM machine, and it's a better chance of them working hard and making a living. There's better odds at getting money off you and going through a divorce court than there would be if they were to work a 9-to-5 job 5 days a week. So that's my advice, guys, on finances. Those that are deciding to have a relationship, you've got to set up some way of paying the joint bills and do the bare absolute minimum, 50-50. You know, women today have been empowered. They can make their own money. They can be financially secure. It's their responsibility, their lifestyle costs, okay? It's not your responsibility. So have that at the front of your mind, that they have every opportunity possible out there to make money and pay for their lifestyle. And it's not up to you to fund someone else's lifestyle. So that's my advice today, guys. Nice and simple. Don't get too complicated with the finances. Just keep it separate. If you want to have some more advice on dating and choosing a woman, then purchase my Alpha Dating off Amazon ebooks. It's fantastic. It can be in your inbox in minutes, and it's a very small cost compared to the benefits that you get out of it. So that's it for today, guys. Take care.